Good evening. Welcome to the press conference for Emma Raducanu. Please raise your hand if you would like to ask a question. Emma, another great win. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel amazing. I think that was a really great match. Playing Marketa, I knew it was going to be very challenging. She's won Wimbledon. She's in amazing form right now, having just won Berlin. So I'm just so proud of how I went out there and competed and kept committing and came through that one.
Jonathan?
Well played, Emma. When was the last time you think you played as well as that?
I think it was one of the best matches I've played in a long time, which I'm very proud of. But at the same time, I didn't feel like I was doing anything outrageous, which gives me a lot of confidence. I think I was just doing the basics very, very well. But yeah, I think I executed really well today, and I'm just so happy to have that level.
James?
I think you won a lot of points in defence today. I haven't got the exact stat, but a lot of points from defensive position. Do you think that going forward is how you're going to really cement yourself further up the rankings as a kind of counter-puncher and being able to win points that look like they're lost?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's something that I've developed in the last few months. I think my ability to kind of use the slice and stay in points for longer. But I think what's going to be the real difference for me to kind of get up to the top is going to be more the aggressive side, and I think more taking risks and my shots on, but calculated risks, and improving like the point as well. I think against the top girls, you really need to have a weapon on serve and also from the back. So I think I'm just working on kind of trying to be more aggressive.
Matt?
Well done today. You said something the other day, a lot's happened in 4 years, I think was the words you used. When you're in the middle of a tournament like this, does your mind ever go to like that idea? Do you reflect on it at all, or are you just sort of like in a zone of one match after the next, like match day, practice day, match day, practice day?
Yeah, you definitely get into a routine when you're in these tournaments, and you don't want it to end. I think there's no better feeling than winning here at Wimbledon, winning on centre court. It's honestly, it makes everything worth it, and you forget about everything, all the ups and downs, and mainly downs when you're out there and you win, and it's so fleeting. It lasts a few minutes after the match and now, but quickly you need to kind of get back in gear for the next day and the next round. But for the rest of the evening, I'm going to enjoy that one because I think it was really special.
Eleanor?
Emma, obviously, Arena next, coming up against the world number one in the third round. I mean, does that feel unlucky in a way, or do you kind of just relish that opportunity and to go out and show what you can do?
Yeah, I think having won today against Marketa, she's also a really top opponent, so that gives me a lot of confidence for my level. But of course, Serena is number one in the world. Been so dominant in the women's game as of the last few years. So I know it's going to be a massive challenge. I'm going to have to play some really good tennis, but for the rest of the evening, I just want to savor that one and enjoy it. But as to being unlucky, I think, it's you want to play the best. You're going to have to play them at some point if you want to win one of these tournaments. So even though it's early in the tournament, I'm looking forward to the opportunity.
Simon?
Emma, you lost to Marketa in Abu Dhabi in that period when you didn't have a coach. You seem to know what you were trying to do very clearly today. I wondered if that was a big difference to having the coach this time.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think I had a lot more clarity with what I was trying to do today. I think also more confidence in my own game. I think that was a really difficult patch for me at the start of the year when I didn't have a coach. I just was very low on confidence, and as a player, I guess you go through those dips in a season where you're feeling lacking a little bit, but I back myself a lot more compared to earlier on in the year, and I think having the direction over the last few months built over consistency really helped.
Rob?
Use the word aggression or being aggressive against Marketa. In your next match, you're going to have to be that again. Is that going to be the game plan, to be aggressive, to have a free hit and just go for it, I suppose?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think, playing Arena, she's number one in the world for a reason. You can't really do nothing or give nothing balls to her. I'm going to have to be aggressive, but pick my moments and not kind of be overly, because I think you can fall into that trap too and try and, I don't think I'm going to go out there and outpower her just, like size-wise and power-wise, but I think I'm going to have to try and be creative as well.
Matt?
Hi, Emma. You've
talked a lot this year about this idea of narrowing the gap to the top players like Arena, and I think sometimes before there's been an idea that maybe it's a bit difficult because you don't have as much natural power as them. Do you feel like grass, because of the extra that it gives you on the serve, do you feel like maybe more than the other surfaces, this is one where you feel like you can beat anyone?
It definitely helps, I think, with the grass. You get a little bit extra with the new balls, but at the same time, I feel like, once there are a few games in or a few long rallies in, these Slazenger balls, they really fluff up quite quickly and get quite heavy and slow. So I do think it also benefits the bigger hitters because they have time to load and really give it some. But I think with grass, you get rewarded for staying in the point a little bit extra because nothing ball, a slice in the box, it's very tricky to kind of deal with. So I think you are incentivized to kind of chase one more ball down and try and scrap and get it back and turn points around.
Hermione?
You've talked about before the tournament, your expectations being a bit lower given your build up to the tournament. I'm curious, have you learned anything about yourself with the way you've kind of handled things and been able to kind of come out on court and find your best tennis?
Yeah, I think, the first round was extremely difficult just with the matchup and everything. So I'm really proud of how composed I was in that first round. And then today, a different challenge, obviously playing a Grand Slam champion, such a top opponent, but super crafty. And I think, of course, keeping expectations low is always going to help. It's just very difficult to kind of implement. You always are really hard on yourself, and I'm the first to kind of bring myself down, I guess, and be my own harshest critic. So I think trying to just really take the ball on one at a time, and that's what I did really well today, and I stayed in the moment really well.
Emma, just before you came to this press conference, I saw you were out there taking selfies with the fans. There was a big huddle of them about, and then you went up on the bridge and were waving to them. I mean, it looked to me as if you look more comfortable in the attention that you get than at any point in the past 4 years. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think there's something special about being here at Wimbledon. I really feel like I'm at home. It's amazing. And I was out there with my friends. It's so rare that I have all of them here in one place. And honestly, they've been like my rock and through everything. And they're like the closest people to me, I think, outside of my family. So that was really special. And, I had the same sort of routine last year. And I just really cherish these moments because we know how hard it is week to week playing on the tour. But when we're here in this sort of environment, feeling at home, it's so special. And I think it's important to take it in because you don't know, the next day how it's going to go.
On a similar note, the home crowd really got behind you on centre court tonight. How much did you feel that tonight, and how much did that help you?
Yeah, I really felt a big support today. The crowd was amazing. It was so electric. I think there were certain points as well in the match that were just, from both sides, really, really high level. And I turned one point around that I think is like probably the best point I've ever played. So that was pretty crazy, and I think the crowd were loving it. But I'm just so grateful to be playing in centre court. There was one moment in the second set where I was like, I looked up and I was like, oh my God, how am I meant to hit the ball right now? Like I'm on centre court playing, and I managed to stay focused and locked in. But it's pretty special when you kind of take a moment to soak it all up, what you're actually doing out there.
During that moment with the crowd and holding your mic up, shortly afterwards, you sort of said no pressure going into that third round. Do you genuinely mean that in terms of you're really enjoying this moment and going into this huge match, you're going to soak it up again?
Well, I think, of course, you always put pressure on yourself. I don't think any athlete truly goes out there and doesn't expect anything of themselves. But I have my own expectations of like what I want to try and be able to do on my own side. But in terms of result, I really don't. And especially today, I just want to take it in, because I know how fleeting these moments are. And it's just a really big honor and testament to the work I've done in the last few months with my team as well, and the people I have around me of the work, and to have this result.
Bill?
Congrats. Of late, a lot of players have been talking about just how mentally tough the game is, and of course you've had quite a journey. In this room last night, Alexander Zverev gave a very poignant press conference about the lack of joy in his life, how he felt at loss, no motivation. What would you say are the keys to playing this tough game with joy, with mental wellness? Could you reflect on that, please?
Yeah, I think tennis is a really difficult sport. You lose every week pretty much. Out of however many tournaments, 26 tournaments a year, you're pretty much losing 26 weeks a year. So that's a really difficult concept to get your mind around. But at the same time, there's an opportunity the next week, and you see the momentum in tennis, how players can go from losing and a 5, 6, 7 match lose streak to then win a tournament, and it shifts their whole season around. So it's a mentally really challenging sport, but I think for me what I've found is trying to surround yourself with good people, trying to win the day, trying to focus on the process as much as possible. And I think the results, it's really difficult to kind of take your joy from the results because it's so up and down, and it's a roller coaster. So trying to enjoy and think, okay, did I get 1% better today, or did I maintain today? Because maintaining as well is a big skill, and if you don't do the right work, you can easily slip. So trying to maintain or at least get a little bit better is probably the goal that I have, at least.
You mentioned your friends there. I don't know if they're in your box or in the crowd, but are they friends from school or from UK, and how often do they get to watch you, and does that add pressure, or is it more joyful for you?
Yeah, I think it adds more significance because they never really get to come and watch me, and we've made it an annual thing. They can come to Wimbledon and it aligns with everyone's calendar, but a lot of them that live in America, but they're friends from secondary school and childhood, and one of them I've known since I was 6 years old, and then another one since I was 14, and it's just so special. They're in the box there, so when I look over to them, it just gives me an extra boost of motivation.
Jasmine?
Hey Emma, you said you didn't get to look in the Royal Box, but it was pretty stacked today. There was John Cena, Tom Daley, Nick Jonas, Olivia Rodrigo. Are you a fan of any of those? And do you like that Wimbledon sort of brings together all these people to watch your matches?
Yeah, I think it's so special, in the Royal Box to have that kind of, those kind of people in there. It definitely adds a bit of pressure, I guess, if you look up and you kind of recognize. So that's why I try and stay with my eyes on the court as much as possible. Only after you kind of look up and take it all in if they're still there.
Okay, I think we're going to wrap up there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.